Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Today, we are joined by the second half of the Black Hat Canadian duo of Enzo and Luke McKay. If you're wondering where the audio, where that interview is, shut up! Don't ask those questions here.
We deleted it.
It got flushed down the toilet. I'm sorry, I dropped it.
Because we hate him.
Yeah, screw Luke. We hate Luke. Nonetheless, though, we are here. We are joined here by the great Enzo, creator of the webcomic Cheer Up Emo Kid.
That's me.
Yes.
How's it going?
It's very good here.
Yeah, this is like probably the first time we've spoken in person, or I mean, internet person, I suppose. Or because we've been like
voice.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool putting a voice to the name and the little avatar.
Oh yes. I mean, yes. If it you may note that I have a bias here. If you go to the webcomic of Cheer Up Emo Kid and scroll down, you might recognize my name.
It's right there. He's one of the Amazon here is one of the top supporters, and I'm ashamed because I don't know how to make up for this enormous amount of money he's thrown at me.
It's okay. The 300 views we get from this video will be enough.
All right, even.
Hey, every little bit helps. You know what the average views on my videos are.
I really do appreciate it, though. It's incredible.
Before we even start, we're getting, as per usual on this show, we're already getting sidetracked. But Cheer Up Emo Kid, or as usually abbreviated, CUEK, which I will never use that abbreviation.
Yeah, I actually dislike that abbreviation.
Oh my god, because I did note that the URL has changed from being usually just Cheer Up Emo Kid to CUEK.
Yeah, and after I realized that, I was like, this is a really ugly acronym, you know? Like, there's a lot of acronyms that roll off the tongue.
But if you put that as a title on like a movie screen, like a kid's just gonna put whiteout on there and just make it say cock. It's too easy. It's too easy.
Well, I didn't even think of that. Now that just makes it worse. Wow. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I can't believe no one's told you this yet.
No.
That's how you know the real ones. They tell you if you're gonna say cuck.
Wow. Brilliant.
You gotta talk to Luke to ask him, why didn't he tell you? Why didn't he warn you? He should have known.
Luke's too nice to do that. I mean, I mentioned before that Luke's one of the nicest people on this earth, and we must protect him at all costs.
Oh yeah, he is amazing. In the in the interview that hasn't happened, I promise.
Oh yeah, it doesn't exist.
He did tell me about how he got his foothold in doing the Rooster Teeth comics, and it's so amazing, like the amount of that's how lucky that is, and I mean
it's a great story.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it kind of does go into kind of how Wild West the internet was, especially back then. Like, you kind of hear some tales about like how some people have just who do like webcomics or fan art just end up being picked up and being like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, cool. The TF2 artists.
I love that. I honestly miss how like in the early mid 2000s and stuff, no one really knew what to do with the internet. People just started slowly putting their stuff online. Nobody knew how to make a website that looked good.
It was very throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and some of the stuff stuck. Honestly. On the subject of Cheer Up Emo Kid, which is what we're here for. I promise. I promise this is what we're here for. For me personally, and why I support Cheer Up Emo Kid, and why you should too at home. Do it. Give money if you can. Feed the poor, starving Canadian artists in Canada. They're cold. Um, so how was making Cheer Up Emo Kid, especially in the earlier days? Because it is most certainly it definitely comes across as a very passion project and a very personal story, and even from just an outsider's point of view, like a lot of the messages and stories that are contained in here, it's like obvious, like, well, there's definitely some real life influences thrown into there and stories told from there. So how was that?
I mean, honestly, the first 100 or so comic strips are just ripped directly from straight from real life. I mean, okay, of
Does
course,
that
not the part
include
where
the
they,
great fat joke where Frank gets eaten by a woman?
yeah, all the death and destruction, that's all real. Um, I died several times, but I got better.
It's
But
okay. That's why underneath, how does the song go? Underneath these clothes is an endless story.
I mean, but on all seriousness, though, like it just, I was going through a bad breakup, and I was in my 18, 19 years old,
Mhm.
and I needed an outlet basically. So I've always drawn comics,
Mhm.
and it just seemed like, hey, I don't really have anyone to talk to. I don't really want to talk to anyone about it. I just kind of want to
Mhm.
just pour my heart out onto the paper, and that's what happened. And it was really angry. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the earlier strips are just very mean and angry, but I guess that really resonated with people because it was just so honest. Like I
Oh,
think that's
yeah.
what people appreciated. Um,
Mhm. I think, yeah, I definitely see that. And hold on to off on the note I want to bring up. If
yeah.
only just to ask, because especially looking back on the early bits. At first, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the first thing
Hmm.
I thought of when I saw those cute little blob people is, did you just mean to do Pawn and Z? Like, did you just mean to do that style, or was that just
No.
kind of happen?
So I have been asked this question before, and no, I did not rip off Hanzi. I ripped off another artist.
Ah, of course. That's
No,
usually how it goes. If
yeah,
there's a
no,
little chain to this.
yeah. In all honesty, I didn't. I actually had never heard of Pawn and Z, but the art style that I ended up getting mainly inspired by was from this
Emulating.
artist on, yeah, emulating. There we go. It's a better word. It was from this artist on DeviantArt called named Boo Boo Kitty. Can I say that? Can I say fuck? Oh, sorry, I just did it.
You don't know how much we cuss on the show.
Oh, okay, Boo Boo
It's
Kitty
alright.
Fuck.
Huh.
There we
Boo
go.
Boo Kitty
That,
Fuck. Titty
that
Fuck?
was the artist's name on DeviantArt, and it was honestly huge inspiration because it was all these like kind of bobble-headed little empty people. I actually think that they were making fun of Tom and Z.
Yeah,
Now that I
probably.
really think about it, because it was kind of like the exact same thing, except they're all fucked up
Oh,
like little
that's
messages and stuff, and that's where I got that from. And I mean, in a lot of later years, I actually tried to distance myself because I wanted to make CUEK my own thing.
yeah.
And then but I just keep going back to it just because like people say like it is your own thing. You don't worry about it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Like,
There was one big comment that talked about the art style change.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that because it was like, wait, did you write?
Well, if you look at that comment,
My God, holy
this
shit!
is
I
the
need to. Oh my.
secret I was hoping to reveal to
Oh
Luke and
my.
you.
Wow, that is a
It's
wow.
me. I have been here from the start.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
That actually, that oh my God, that actually like really blows my mind because that comment really resonated with me for a long time.
No, I know
Oh,
it. It's so if you have qualms about the direction of Cheer Up Emo Kid now, I'm sorry. I'm sincerely sorry. That was my
yeah.
fault.
No, 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 no. That's totally fine. Because like you know how I'm gonna let you know right now. I have zero opinions of my own.
Yeah.
Everything in my life has been influenced by other people. So
Yeah. No, I feel you there, man.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, like seriously, like thank you for that, because that really meant a lot.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And
Thank
it just
you.
means a lot. It means so much more knowing that, like, if fucking you, what the fuck?
It's been a long con. You don't understand, Enzo. This has been the long con, a very
Oh,
long con. I have
I,
established this YouTube channel and started making webcomic videos 2 years ago just to bring to this moment.
oh
My
my god,
word.
I fucking love that. I love it so much. Wow. I don't remember when I think it was after like a long break probably, and I did like a couple.
That was like that was during definitely. Yeah, I think there may have been a break, but it was like in the middle of the. I want to. Is it Matt or Dan? What was the fat guy's name? Forget.
Bill.
Okay, thank God. Um, but no, I only say thank God because okay, if his name was Dan, then the name Dan would most certainly be solidified in my mind as the gay man name.
Yes.
If only because if only because so this is a wild fucking non sequitur and it's all
Mhm.
about me. So I apologize to the
Yeah,
audience
yeah.
for this. So I do my own fan comic. I think I've shown you this, but
Yes.
yeah. So there's a character in there who's named Dan, and he's
Hmm.
gay. I think
Hmm.
I've told you about the cheating thing that goes on in that story, and
Yes.
guess who she had developed feelings for? It was the gay man, and the gay
Oh,
guy. It kind of plays into the idea that this isn't supposed to happen.
yeah.
Neither of them expected it to happen, but it just ended up being that way, and so it
Hmm.
becomes this very nice and complex drama that you can sink your teeth into. Nonetheless, that character of Dan, that was based off of a friend of mine who is gay, and his name is Dan, and
Okay.
obviously. And he's a furry. I literally the only reason I put him in there was because I'm like, I need a character to be a friend, and I'm like, what furry friends do I have? Okay, hey, I have this friend Dan. Yeah, we'll fucking throw him in. Yeah, put him in
Perfect.
there. Let's see. Ooh, hey, we can do like this fun thing. This is actually really interesting. We can do many things. But
Nice.
and then years later, when Stomach started making, and we started doing this channel, I end up becoming friends with another friend named Danimal, who is
Hmm.
a part of the show. He's done a lot of voices. He's a great person. Love him to death. He's also gay, and so I
Worked out pretty nicely.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, that's 2 for 2. Whenever I bring up False Idol and I talk about the comic and that character of Dan, I'm like, when I told him about that, he's like, that's not me, is it? I'm like, no, it's just a weird coincidence. If there's another fucking Dan, if there's another gay Dan, I swear to fucking God, that's just gonna be it. Every gay character has to be Dan now. I'm just gonna make that. That's the thing now.
That's hilarious.
Too many of them. They're multiplying. But anyway, back on topic. So when we were talking about when I left the comment about the art style change, like, and I still stand by it. Like, I think one of the strengths of that faux pawn and Z kind of style, or well, I guess you could say boo boo
Yeah.
titty fucker if you
Yeah.
want style, if you want to be like that. It definitely does set a great tone for the comic and the style,
Hmm.
and kind of gives it this underlying message of like, and it kind of also meshes into the fact that none of the women have names. They're just
Hmm.
named red, green, blue, red, green, and I think there was a yellow
Yes.
or and blue.
Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
remember anymore.
I don't remember my own characters. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes into this idea of like, everyone's kind of the same and similar, and and if you take it from this perspective of like someone who's like depressed or something, like they don't
Hmm.
really view people as people. It's just kind of forms, and only your friends you
Yeah.
really care about, you kind of remember their names and stuff, and you don't want to really think about the names of the people that have hurt you, like women. I guess. No offense. I'm sorry. I know it's the past. It's the past. It's okay.
No, that's a really great interpretation. I actually really love that. It's
yeah.
It's a really great perspective.
Yeah, but
I like that a lot. I like that more than my interpretation of the comic. Can we just go with that?
The interpretation was it? I'm lazy. I just needed something out there.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's how I do too. But once we started getting into Dale's arc and like the IT stuff, into the characters started to get kind of more formed and more anatomy and stuff like that. Like it works. I think it definitely. I definitely would have liked to see how that arc would have gone, and I think a comic like that would be great. But yeah, I think it's a great balance, and that's kind of the thing that I've learned with style because I've looked at like a bunch of webcomics. We've covered a number of them in the show, and one of the most what's the most pretentious word I can use to describe this? Abstract. The most abstract concepts when in terms of art and most subjective things to criticize is style. What the fuck is style? And in a way, it's kind of the way that I've figured it is essentially what your eyes see before it can recognize anything, before it understands that this shape is a person, before it understands it's how your eyes are able to perceive that this person's a person. This person has this sort of things going on. It's like if you take your glasses off, for those of us who are unfortunate enough to have poor eyesight, when you take your glasses off and you kind of focus on, you just see a blob like on thumbnail. You're like, it's kind of thumbnail. They see orange. Like you don't really perceive it, but you get a vague idea of it. Style is that vague idea put into it, and it's not necessarily something that you can control. There's a lot of some things that you can spot and be like, oh, this style's like this style's like that, this style's like this. What does it actually say? Like, doesn't matter. The best comparison I would like to point to for examples of how styles are very different to art quality, but how they can be very influential and very good for a comic. So the two examples I always point to is the difference between, excuse the clicking, I am actually pulling up the fucking site so that I can bring in the visual references here. I don't need a visual reference for Lackadaisy though, because everyone and their fucking mother should know about Lackadaisy.
Like what? Just kidding.
It's the furry one. It's the furry one. I know. The 20s gangsters. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. And it was like a perfect setup though for that. Yeah. Everyone knows it. Like knows what.
Perfect. Yeah, it's how it always is. But
freaking gorgeous comic.
Oh yeah, fucking everyone points to it as like the big this is what internet art could be if only we
if only we knew how to draw and practice and actually hone our craft.
You see, and they do this shit for free. Can you believe it? They give it to us for nothing. But on the flip side, like you can look at that art style and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's perfect for the comic because it's all about the roaring 20. Wait, am I getting my dates right? I don't know. The roaring 20, the Prohibition era, like sounds the Art Deco stuff, But then on the flip side, sorry for cutting you off, I know. But on the flip side, though, you also have a comic like Leftover Soup. And I know you're not gonna fucking know what that is.
Dude, everyone knows Leftover Soup. What are you talking about?
It's a great webcomic. Another one that I point to as being like one of my favorite influences. Here's a picture of it. I just hit random and it gave me this one. And obviously, if you put them side by side, you're gonna be like, this one's way better than this one. But here's the thing. And here's why style is actually very important. Actually plays a very good influence to how we digest and appreciate art and comics.
Mm-hmm.
And why this is actually, dare I say, just as important as Lackadaisy. Now, hold on. Please stay with me on this. I promise. Yeah. So, Leftover Soup, obviously, it doesn't have that same. There is the objective quality. It doesn't have the detail. It's more simple. There's no like different varying line weights. It's fairly flat colors and stuff like that. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm going to tell you that doesn't fucking matter because that is actually plays into the strength of the comic because Leftover Soup is the most, and I mean this in the nicest, most sincere, and heartfelt way possible. It is the most boring, pure slice of life comic I have ever fucking read. And it is just nothing but young adults, rather, like post-college age people, just talking about random shit in their life, talking about politics, relationships, love, all that jazz, and then random stuff. Things happen, but it's literally the most slice of life comic I've ever read, and this art style actually works really well for that purpose because it is simple, it is dry, it is not flashy, it's not exotic, it's nothing. In fact, I point to the title of the comic itself to reinforce this. It's just Leftover Soup. It's not. It's nothing extravagant. It's nothing like wow. It's gonna sweep you off your feet. But it's like it's refreshing. It's very satisfying. It's neat. It's there's nothing else like it. It's a combination. It's simple life.
Okay. I think I see what you're saying. Yeah, like it's like this. The style kind of has to be appropriate for the content that it's actually trying to convey, and it doesn't need to be like every shade and every stroke of color is perfect, right?
We don't have to be Lackadaisy. I promise. We don't have to aspire to be these greats. We
definitely,
And in that way, like that's pretty much what I was trying to. That's what I was saying with like the comment, right? Well, right around. It's that style will say way more about your comic than the words on the page will. It'll say more about you than any of the detail or anything of that because the style is the first impression. The first thing that you think of when you see this, the first thing you think of when you see Lackadaisy is, holy shit, this is gorgeous. There's so much stuff going on. It's so weird. It's wacky. It's neat. And then you look, and the first thing you think of when you see Leftover Soup is like, oh, this is pretty simple. This is kind of drab. This is pretty boring, honestly. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's because it kind of is. And it doesn't, and it plays into that. It's great. And the art style is kind of passive for a lot of us. Like, you don't think about how you do it. You don't think about how you draw. How much pressure do you put on each line? I mean, Mr. Enzo, why do you choose this color over that? Why do you do anything? I don't fucking know, because it looks nice to me. That's the answer, kids. I'm sorry.
And, oh my gosh, that actually really, sorry to interrupt, that actually, because you reminded me of like what I feel is a really good example of this is, have you ever read the One Punch Man? Like, and not when I say read One Punch Man, like it started out as a webcomic online.
Yeah. Sadly, no. I haven't. The only webcomic like manga that turned anime that I've ever read is Pop Team Epic, because Pop Team Epic is amazing.
I wanted to tell you because One Punch Man, like as you know, it's like a very popular franchise, I think now, but it started out as a webcomic online. And if you actually go and look up the original pages, they are it's just black and white lines that are like, at first glance, you're like, what? Like, how did this is like a big franchise got picked up by a publisher now? Like, why? Because at first glance, it's like, it's not really well, what's the word for it? It's not really refined, There's nothing, it doesn't seem to be very visually interesting. But
Yeah, it doesn't really follow a lot, and it doesn't follow a lot of the manga and anime-esque styles that are
no,
seen
it doesn't.
everywhere else.
Yeah, but what it did have, because I was like, what the fuck? But then I started reading it, and the story was really well done. It was really compelling. The kind of like the, I guess, the, or what do you call it, the gimmick? Because every anime seems to have a gimmick, right?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
thing that kind of like
They
the
kind of
draw.
hope to
And
bring you
then
in.
and I, yeah, exactly. And I started actually, if you actually look at their art style, it's like the the artist knows what he wants the image to be. He knows exactly what it is, but he can't really convey it exactly because you can see, you can really, really tell that they have an idea of like the rules of how panels should be set up. Like the compositions were very, very good. Like 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 for example, when I say composition, I mean like the face has to be in a specific spot on the panel for it to
Mhm.
be like dramatic, right? Of course, there's no
Yeah.
shading, there's no lines, but like its composition is great. So it was like it definitely had the seed of something there, and it's so amazing that someone else, whoever discovered them, like realized that and really kind of picked up on it, and now they're huge because it really actually was someone who had a really great idea and a really great kind of foundation and just needed
Mhm.
a little bit of more push, a little bit more refinement, a little bit more to kind of just get that out there. And now you have One Punch Man, which is this really great franchise. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't follow it too much beyond like what I read from like on the webcam, but that's still kind of, I love that example of just art isn't really everything if you have a great story and you have the great
Yeah.
um, foundation of ideas, and
Mhm.
yeah, people will like it.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, like, even if it doesn't necessarily have the most detail, like,
Mhm.
you can also use that. That also can be used in its advantage because there's nothing better than like a simple seeming like art being contrasted by like this whole depth and fucking kind of lull you into this lowering your standards so that you can be like, oh my god, it's all this stuff's happening, and then
Mhm.
there's all this detail or whatever. I know they anime in particular loves to do that a lot, but yeah, it's just the difference in styles and how
Yeah,
it can shape your thing and shape your
yeah,
opinion.
exactly.
On the subject though of Cheer Up Emo Kid, I don't know how else I'm
Mhm.
going to rip it back around from this. I fit it at end.
Oh,
But so one of the things I did want to mention, because for me reading Cheer Up Emo Kid, there's a number of little side stories that, or like I don't know what to call them other than like little side stories or side
mhm.
arcs of like the little poems like Dog and Paths and stuff.
Yeah.
Like which one of those is your personal favorite, or which one do you think you like most?
That's a good question because I mean, a lot of people usually love to reference that just because it like kind of blew up
Oh
um
yeah.
in the what was it 2010, so it's absolutely just freaking decimated the internet for a little bit.
Yeah. It
And
was
I
the day
still
that Enzo made everyone sad.
Yeah, like and like I mean that's I still get people who are like, wait, you did that dog comic? Fuck.
I still
um,
love the fucking ending joke at the end. Where it's like, oh my
yeah,
god, it's the guy with the dog.
yeah. That's actually it was really funny because a lot of people didn't like that. They ruined the gravity of the original 9 pages, and I'm like, do you read my comic? Because I do that all the fucking time. I love
Yeah.
ruining the moment. That's what I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, fuck him. That's the
Uh,
point.
it's like
uh,
that's like because like I've always been like after I finished a dog comic, I was like, oh, this is too serious. I should lighten this up a bit, because
yeah,
I don't like going down that road and being I don't like being all
yeah.
like, oh, this is supposed to be inspirational and shit. It makes me feel ugh.
It feels preachy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like, no. You came here to laugh, not to feel. Let's
this is a webcomic we're show, all right? We're supposed to be laughing. Come on. And,
yeah, exactly.
or if you could say another fine, I'll say it. Cheer up, emo kid.
Oh my god.
No.
You said the movie title.
We said it. We did it. Timestamp.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to say that the dog was the most, just like the one that had the most impact on me and I guess other people as well. Just because I was blown away by just how much it affected people and how people would message me telling me stories about their dogs and they're like saying thank you. Like I read comments of people who like they were so, I don't know, the word is moved or like, yeah, I guess they were so moved by the comic they fucking flew home to go see their childhood dogs. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
That's amazing. And also, what? That's awesome that you should do that because don't do what I did and fucking just like
ghost your dog. Don't do it.
I ghosted my dog and now she's a ghost.
No.
Damn it, you stole it.
Damn it.
I laid it up for you.
Thank you. Make me seem so much more intelligent than I actually am.
we do pure wit. No, don't you understand? This is the whole point of this show, Enzo. You see, well, that's why all the audio and technical problems that linger on this show is because my job here is not just to showcase artists who are underappreciated in webcomics in this underappreciated medium. It's also so that I'm as awkward and socially inept as possible, so that by comparison, you guys are just amazing. You're just the gods. You're amazing wits. It's wonderful.
Well, you're doing great.
But personally, though, I like Paths a lot more. Just because of the story, just because of the message of it, like it's really a really good example or showcase of like how it's the little things in our lives and the decisions that we make that can have long-term influences over what we do or how we choose to let tragedy or the bad times affect ourselves. Like with Steve, like Steve's path, like he's like, I'm gonna fucking make myself better of this. I'm gonna fucking work hard to be the girl, or Zeke lets himself wallow and just wait for it, wait patiently. And then Frank becomes self-consumed. It's like it's great. It's a great message, and I think especially for the clientele of Cheer Up Emo Kid, it's a very good message and showcase of like how we should be able to how we choose to deal with ourselves, and that way it's a great message. One of the best like things for Cheer Up Emo Kid, and to me that's kind of the biggest parts, or that's one of the best things that I find with the comic. And I think also why it resonates with a lot of people is that especially once we got to like I'd say it's once Zeke fell into the fat girl pit. That's as out of context, as terrible as that sounds out of context. It's one of the most. It's when the comic really starts to show its teeth, and I love it. It's great.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. I really want to.
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
No. Go on.
I do want to speak on that because it sounds really really bad, and that's because it is. But I want to explain why like a lot the comic rags on fat people all the time.
Yeah,
it's
because we're Filipino and there's too much fucking fat in our food.
I mean, yes, that's one. Oh my god, I didn't know you're Filipino. That's fucking awesome. But yes, no, that's true. Like I had to go off on another tangent. My dad had a friend who ate longanisa every single day for breakfast. But for people who don't know what that is, it's Filipino breakfast sausage, basically.
Yes.
Slathered in like syrup and oil.
This person was
syrup in it? I think that's what it is because it's so sweet, right?
No, it's inside there. It's inside the casing. You don't have to put any oil on there. Thing is
No,
so freaking. You just poke a
yeah.
hole in it and it just
Oh
blurts.
my, yeah, okay. So there.
Yeah,
Um,
it is
and this dude
terrible
ate
though.
it every single fucking day. But he ran, he was fit, and he still died of a heart attack
Mhm.
in spite of being a fit. Okay, that's another tangent. Um, but my original point. What was my original point? Yeah, fat
Oh,
people. I
yeah,
made fun of them
fat
all a
jokes.
lot,
Yeah,
and it's not because I hated fat people. It's because I hated myself.
yeah. That's usually where the humor comes from.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of our
and like
stuff.
because like basically every character in the comic was like me was either like me making fun of myself, or and I of course had to provide characters as vehicles so that it wouldn't just be one person yelling at themselves the whole time. I had to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the character was a just had to be a girl, and then that comes off really bad today, and I own that. I totally understand that. I apologize for it. But there was a reasoning for it. It
Yeah.
wasn't supposed. It wasn't meant to be for other people. It was just meant.
Well, here's the secret, and maybe it's because I have my third eye open and I'm just that high IQ, but I
Yeah,
completely understood that, and I think that's also part of why Paths is more significant
yeah,
for me, because I'm like, especially once you realize when with the whole gif of like it just being Frank is just the same. Frank, Zeke, and Steve are the same person, just
yeah,
different paths in their lives. Like that, it's definitely you can definitely see how how all these different how Frank and Zeke are one and the same, and that's just different ways of and different aspects of ourselves or of you rather, and it's very I definitely see that, and that's again a point to the art style. It works really well in conveying
yay.
that subconsciously. You may not have noticed it, but your brain did.
Some so subtle you might not have even noticed, but your brain did.
You know.
Oh, that's
uh,
oh my god.
Now
Thank you.
here's where
That's
I'm going to
great.
kill you because I
Oh no.
no.
Oh no.
So we tried to read it. We have a now uh trashed episode where we did go back to read better slip of the tongue. Don't ask what that was. Where we were trying to read Cheer Up Emo Kid, and actually
Mhm.
here's a fun fact. Cheer Up Emo Kid was going to be the first webcomic that we were going to read for the show.
Uh-huh.
The only reason I didn't do it was because at the time we were very rusty and I didn't
Yeah.
know like how the show was going to form, and so I
Uh-huh.
was like, we'll do a gag a day or this kind of thing. It's like this kind of faux gag a day where it's a gag a
Yeah.
day, but then as you go on, you find out there's a developing story and plotline. Ah, great! It's a great jump and a great showcase of what the medium's capable of. We didn't have any of the chemistry down. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with the show,
Mhm.
and I didn't know, and I didn't even know what I wanted to really do with the show. I was just like, we're gonna and oh, I should probably tell you what the show is. Okay, so essentially,
Yeah.
all we do is once a week we pretty much read along the whole comic. Different people do different voices, take different characters, and we just have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Nice.
Um, and the problem I found with doing Cheer Up Emo Kid at the time was just that the Gagaday stop formats, it's of course not going to really translate as well, especially
Yeah.
if, if like one person, if not everyone's on the same page and not everyone really understands humor or we're not really there. But yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but the thing was, so that was like 2 years ago now,
Yeah.
and so recently, I think a month or two ago, I was like, all right, we need a new comic for this month. Let's read Cheer Up Emo Kid. Let's go back and see it. And I'm like, yes, this is great. We got our boys. I've seen how they handle it. They are still not on the board with Gagadays, but I can muscle my way through this. We can find our way in and see
Yeah.
how it rides. The problem was though, I I immediately noticed there was something was amiss.
Oh.
We were like going through count through the website and like going through each page, and I'm like, hey, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Like, wait a second, why does that sound different? Like, wait a second, we already going to this joke. I don't, and wasn't that supposed to be like further? Wait a second. And I realized you changed the freaking comic on me. You changed the history.
I did. I'm so sorry.
No,
that actually happened a while ago because so it happened back when I actually got hired by Go Comics, aka like Andrews McNeil, and I started. They asked me like, hey, I asked them like, okay, well, you want me to put my comic on your site? That's awesome. Do you have any like qualms about that? Like, do I have to censor myself? And they're like, no, just, I mean, obviously, just don't, like, if you have like super profanity, obviously this kind of, so
yeah,
actually,
no slurs allowed. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually, when I was redoing some of my older, or when I was going through my old comics and re-exporting them for GoComics.com, I actually went through and just fixed a bunch of stuff that I actually never really liked.
Yeah.
I tried my best to kind of keep kind of the spirit of the comics. There was some, what I felt were like, oh, this is kind of too wordy. I just need to cut it down a bit. Other times I felt like I could probably, convey the message in a different way. And I do hope that like it didn't really. I do hope it didn't change it too much because I felt like I did. A decent job of kind of retaining the spirit,
the core
of the
image
original,
of it,
while still kind of. I fucking George Lucas it. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I did miss the Frank and Red fight.
That is straight up. I can't put that on because that's Flash movie, and that's just
that's gone forever. I know.
Gone forever.
I was wondering. I'm like, we did get to that part, or we got to the bit where Frank finally pulls him out, and I'm like, wait a second, wasn't there like a wait? But Red was pouring the thing, and she saw. Oh my god, I forgot. There was the Flash game where you fight Red. Oh man.
And Flash is dead.
That explains it. Yeah. Sad.
I'm so sad because the only way I can ever redo that is if like, if I redo it in JavaScript and I just got the time for that shit.
We're not gonna do that.
That game, looking back on it now as an adult, that's a problem.
It's a bit problematic, as they say.
It's like one of the special moves is a dude throwing a kitchen sink at a woman. That's just.
Well, I would take that as more of just the old saying, everything in the kitchen sink. So I mean.
Okay. Well, you're interpreting it in a very, very good and very.
I'm more focused on the sink than the kitchen part. Okay.
Yeah. Because, in 19, 20-year-old me thought it was hilarious, but now I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. I will say I am very thankful and I'm very glad that you had the foresight of keeping the fucking, what is it? The perfect music video in there.
Oh, yeah.
Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan?
No! Well, that way I was able to convert because it was just a straight up animation. So I was able to convert it to a video very easily.
Just put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I just put it on YouTube.
Congratulations on being on Copyright Gang. Hell yeah. We're not
alone. I know. Even whatever record company jumped on that real fast.
I'm sure. Oh my god.
It's automatic.
Oh, you know what's fucking funny? Okay, this is another amounts of how many tangents we get. Have you ever heard of the band The Mountain Goats?
I have not.
Oh, they're really good. They're very indie sounding, but I think one of their songs was used in The Walking Dead, if only because I went to one of the fucking lyric music videos, and all the comments are like, "Oh, poor Daryl from Walking Dead." I'm like, "Oh, is he dead?
Oh,
Did he die?" And they played this song, you motherfuckers.
oh, I did not know that.
Me neither. Sorry for spoiling.
It's okay. I haven't actually. I already go into that show just expecting everyone to die, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like I get spoiled.
Nonetheless, yeah, this is the song. So for the most recent video that I've uploaded, I did 2 song references in there. One of them was this song, Up the Wolves by the Mountain Goats. And another was the song Foolish Father by Weezer. And I was like, I know this video is going to get copyright claimed by one of these songs. The real question is which one. And my bet was on Weezer because that's owned by Sony. But
Yeah.
no, actually, it was the Mountain Goats. And that was the most surprising thing in the world to me. I don't understand. Why? Why did the indie band get flagged? I guess they're looking out for the little guy or
Oh, yeah, I
something.
guess so. Or maybe that indie band isn't so indie.
Well, I mean, they did. Okay, so when I was looking up this band, because I was looking through their discography, and it's really great. I like their style. They're really nice. They did end up playing on a talk show for Stephen Colbert, and
Okay. Oh, wow.
there was one of the most cringe things I've ever seen done. And the moment I saw it happen, I'm like, oh, you don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. What happened was Stephen Colbert came onto the fucking stage and started singing with the band. And I'm like, oh no. No, don't do that. That's bad etiquette. No, you're not these guys. But yeah, they're great.
How did they react though to that?
No, they seemed okay. They were cool. They were cool about it. But I'm like, just watching it, I'm like, oh, that's weird. Don't do that. Come on. Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. Nonetheless, yeah. So that scene, and I especially, when we were doing the reading, I especially wanted to get to that part. One of the main things that did seem weird to me that was a change. I think the talk with Purple was changed little bits there, and that definitely threw me off a lot of parts. But also, one part that really stuck out to me and that it lingered with me for the years was Frank quoting the Bible as he birthed Zeke from the well. And I'm like, it's to me that's a great fucking joke, and it kind of says a lot. I like that joke. I thought it was fun.
You liked it. I thought it was funny at the time, but I don't know. It just felt weird to me.
Felt a bit pretentious, maybe, or
yeah, super pretentious.
But to be fair, that's kind of the point. I read that as kind of like, yeah, that's just Frank. He's kind of eating it up. He's playing hero right now. Man's fucking having a ball. He saved the day.
Yay!
Like, I understand it. I'm not like I should mention, like, I definitely do understand like rewrites and stuff like that. I'm never going to fault a artist or writer for going back and being like, okay, yeah, we needed to ease up on some of these slurs. It was a different time. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? That's fine. You do you. That's great. But I think there definitely was certain things that, and it may just be because I am biased, as we have clearly shown. I am very, very deep in this comic.
Yeah,
I'm very invested in it, but financially and physically. But, you know, but the thing is, like, I look, one of the reasons why Cheer Up Emo Kid to me stands tall as an example of just not only of what this medium is capable of, but also like what writing is capable of, is because it's probably the first time I'd ever seen it where the comic it to kind of play on a cliche. It's like when
Mhm.
people, and I fucking hate when they say this, where people like look at like SpongeBob and they're like, "Oh, when I was a kid, I thought saw myself as SpongeBob, and I thought he was the great character, and now as an adult, I realize that I'm Squidward."
Oh yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, and I'm like, but in a way, Cheer Up Emo Kid kind of does fit that, in that it's like, and I've never, and I've, it does the twist really well of showing like Zeke, because as you read it, you're like, oh, I feel for Zeke. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
You know, he's going through this bad time. He's going through a bad breakup. He can't get over this girl. And his friend Frank, he's just an asshole. He's just keeping him down. He's giving him terrible advice. He's just a womanizing asshole. And then as the comic goes on, you're like, wait a second. Actually, no, Zeke's a kind of fucked up person. He's kind of terrible. He does this to himself.
Yeah.
Frank's at least honest with everyone,
Yeah.
and he doesn't like fuck. He doesn't fuck around.
That's so true.
If you fuck with Frank, you know what you're getting.
That is actually so true. Like, I actually felt that way over the years. I've actually felt that exact feeling too, where it's just like I'm starting to relate more to Frank. You know? 'Cause
Yeah,
like especially because like Zeke was always supposed to be kind of like the whiny one, the more emotional one, and Frank was the more.
Mm.
I wanted to say level-headed, but it wasn't really that. It was more like he's been through shit, and he kind of knows. He kind of like, what's the word? Like, kind of blocked himself off, so he doesn't have to feel that shit anymore.
he's kind
I
of,
guess.
you're talking with Zeke, right? Yeah.
Like with Frank, like he's kind of
Frank,
protecting
yeah.
himself emotionally, and that's why he seems like he's kind of emotionally stunted or whatever. But that's because
That's how
got
he's
his
learned to
walls up.
deal with his problem.
Yeah, so he's got his walls up, and he's telling Zeke like, "Yo, don't do these things because you're gonna become like me or something."
Yeah, and I think, that's just a nice subtle. It's kind of like a subtextual moral of the story,
Mhm.
because in a way, again, going back to these characters being the same, it's like Zeke is, you're looking, the difference between Zeke and Frank is literally just how they deal with their issues. With
Yeah,
Zeke, he's kind of let it consume him. He's let it become him and become a part of his identity. He can't. He, in a way, he kind of. In a way, if I don't know if I'm speaking for the character, but like if I saw a person like Zeke, and like if I had a friend like Zeke, I'd kind of look at it and real like, he's kind of let himself become consumed by it. He's kind of relying on that because
yeah,
there is familiarity in the pain. Whereas Frank's like keeping it down. He's not keeping it down. He's just learned to kind of live with his tumor. He's not going to do anything to change it because he doesn't feel like there's anything that can be done to change it. He's just
yeah,
going to live with this pain.
yeah, exactly.
And in a way, it's kind of noble. In a way, he's still an asshole, but he's a likable asshole. And they love that. That's why I love also his talk with Purple and the way that
Mhm.
he just lays it out to her. Of that fucking line of, "Will he ever love me like he as much as he loved her?" And she just says, "No, no, it's not gonna happen. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. He's my friend, but he's not gonna. He's a hopeless cause." Like,
damn.
it's great.
I'm sorry that line just brought up some memories. Oof.
No, it's all good.
Right.
Uh, the one fucking part though that did kind of get on me. I'm like, where I was like, and I think it was this part that I went. I'm like, okay, actually, you know what? I don't know if we can continue just because I'm gonna keep fucking pointing out every little difference. Was
Uh-huh.
the cocaine scene, like the so addendum? We never actually got to the cocaine. I don't know if we actually got to the cocaine monologue. We had cut the episode short at the end of the trapdoor arc because once we got to the ending bit where I realized, okay, the dialogue's changed here. and I know things are very different. And I realized that, okay, we can't really cover this because it's not the way that I remember. It's not, and I'm going to be completely comparing and contrasting it to the way that I remember things. But the point still stands, even though the cocaine monologue was completely untouched, and it's still perfect. It's still great. I love that whole page. The problem is that it once we got to the end of the trapdoor arc, as we mentioned, Red fighting Frank was completely cut, and I realized that that whole bit was actually pretty darn pivotal. I know that it's misogynistic in a lot of ways, but it still served a pretty good purpose from a pacing point and from a character point, because there's a little bit of incontinuity, as I point out in some of the pages that we reference that I threw up on the screen before. For instance, how is Purple the first one out, but Frank's not, but Zeke's not? Well, that's because in one of the cut pages, after Frank throws Red into the trapdoor pit and she gets stuck in the cement, Zeke foolishly tries to dive into the cement to save her, and that gets him stuck. We don't get to see that, and so it makes it seem completely come out of nowhere of like, how did Frank manage to get rid of Red? Why does it say in this page, did he go back, did he try to save her? Because he did, but we never saw that. So there is still that whole disconnect, and it threw me off for a big loop, and it did kind of ruin a lot of the setup and the whole payoff of that ending, and showing how deeply consumed Zeke had been over Red, by actually showing that he was foolishly going to dive into cement in order to save his ex, while he's still trying to while he should be trying to fix his own relationship in front of him. Anyway, that I just wanted to point that out. Not talking about the cocaine monologue. Go read the cocaine monologue. I'll probably fucking read the cocaine monologue again. Do it. Anyway, go on. I'm stupid. Ignore me. That whole page. Here's a fun fact. If you viewer on my YouTube channel, if you go to my videos and go to the earliest video I've ever made, well, not the earliest, but one of the earliest ones, there was a little demo reel that I made of just like me reading lines in various voices for different characters. And one of them, of course, if you can probably tell where I'm going with this, one of them was was Frank's monologue about cocaine. And it's because that scene's like perfect. It's a perfect monologue about love and sex and how and trying to get over like that sort of thing, and it really showcases like how he views that, how he really deals with it. It's wonderful, really wonderful. But just one of my favorite moments from Cheer Up Emo Kid, and it's definitely, and like I said in the beginning, it's kind of the moment where the comic starts to show its teeth and show its moral and what the underlying message is and what it's really about, and shows that it has more going for it. I think that's part of why it resonated with a lot of people, because before that, it was kind of like your regular gag-a-day that you kind of see everywhere, and everyone was trying to be. Everyone was trying to be like Cyanide and Happiness and be all like, oh, fucking over the top, edgy kind of humor.
Yeah.
But this time there is a message, and it just sneaks up on you. And it's like, whoa, hey, here's the whole moral. Here's the moral of the story. Oh, we're learning morals today. I didn't realize. And
we're feeling feelings today.
You tricked me. I thought it was no brain hours. How dare you? Why could you do this to me? Yeah, in that way, I think there were things that were kind of lost, and I think every element. And again, this is probably just my bias because his personal experience reading the comic, and no two people will have the same experiences usually, typically, unless you're. I would say unless you're a really good writer and are that fucking able to manipulate your audience to be like, I got everyone. Fuck the, that Abraham Lincoln line? Yeah, fuck that. I managed to get every single person at once. Like that hook, especially, and I think it just goes to and it kind of goes into like some of the benign changes because, like I said, there were bits where I was like, "Oh, we're going." I think it surprised me how fast we got to the whole cement mixer scene, just because I was like, I thought
there actually are a couple of comics missing, just because like I straight up wasn't able to convert them to mobile friendly.
Yeah.
There's straight up missing. And so I actually found the cocaine comic you're talking about. It's number 112.
Ah.
And I don't actually remember. You actually don't look at the original Flash.
What's changed? It may just be. I should mention.
I'm gonna check.
To be fair, I felt like I was losing
it. Because like a mystery. Because I do want to know. Because I actually reread it, and I don't think I changed much of this.
I don't know. To be fair, I felt gaslit by that point.
I'm sorry.
It's real or not? Am I remembering right? Is this correct? Like, wait a second. Wait, I thought it went like this. I thought there was more. Wait, what's going on? I'm confused.
I'm really sorry to tell you this, but I did not change.
Okay, thank you. That's good. That's actually great. I prefer that.
Okay. The only thing I changed was I added a watermark. A modern watermark.
You gotta stay hydrated,
Actually, reading this over, I'm actually still kind of proud of this monologue.
It is definitely the standout bit.
Because it's like I wanted to make Frank really kind of have a message, but at the same time still be really, really vulgar. Because that's what he is, Like he has like this kind of way where like you kind of know that he has stuff to say, but he doesn't really know how to say it without kind of offending people in a way.
Yeah.
And
having it in the guise of, let's go to the fucking strip club. Stop wallowing in sadness here when you can swallow your sadness in some titties. Let's do that. That's a great thing.
I love that because like everyone's got that kind of friend who really just wants to help you out, but
they don't really know how.
Yeah, and they want to kind of stay like, oh, we're gonna do feelings today, so I'm gonna try to retain my masculinity because I'm a man. Yeah. That's kind of where I was coming from, because everyone knows that person. Like, you have a guy friend who just cannot get in touch with their emotions, but they have a heart of gold.
Yeah, it's like, and I think you definitely pulled off that character very well. I've seen him one time. We don't talk about that character, but I have seen him one time in another comic, and I think it's always great to see that kind of character because it's it's something that you don't really see too often, and I think it's something that we've kind of has gone kind of underappreciated in there I say society as a whole. We have forgotten about the great himbo. It's very fair, and it's again something that makes Frank a lot more relatable. And to make an even worse comparison, it's kind of like the people who prefer Sasuke over Naruto. Be like, oh, he's the much better character. What are you talking about? He's so edgy. It's like, in a way, but for Frank in particular, it's like you do like the edgier character because it's not that he doesn't care; it's that he doesn't have a way. He doesn't know how to express himself, and that's something that we all fucking know. Every one of us have had problems like being like, I don't know how to. like, especially like, so it's an idea I've explored in a different comic. I'm not going to get into it because we're going already away. But the thing is, like, one underappreciated aspect of dealing with grief, or like being like when you have your friend that just can't get over his problems, like it's so fucking crushing to be like,
Yeah.
I want to help you, but I don't really know how. I don't know the words. I don't really see it. And so you're kind of frustrated with him, and you're frustrated with yourself, and you kind of deal with that. That's Frank. That's Frank. That's the embodiment of Frank.
Absolutely.
Fuck this. I don't know what to do, but you know what makes me happy? Tits. Let's go fucking bury ourselves in tits. Buddy, we're gonna have a good time, whether you like it or not.
Because my dad never hugged me, so I don't know how to portray my emotions correctly.
It's great, though. It's great. And I think we can all learn a lesson from Frank. I think we can all appreciate that guy. Yeah. Just a little. Don't give him too much. He is still an asshole. But,
Yes,
he is. You know, every pal needs a Cartman. Everyone. You gotta need someone to kind of keep you in check and be like, hey, stop being a fucking pussy. It's alright. Cheer up, Emo Kid. You're gonna be okay. And I think that's also why I'm like, I think a part of me was scared when I saw that you abbreviated Cheer Up Emo Kid, because I'm like, oh no, don't tell me that he's afraid of the title, because the title's amazing. The title is perfect for this comic.
I've honestly been like trying to, again, it's one of those things where I'm just like, I feel like the title's already aged out of itself. You know? Because like, I mean, I love the
no one says emo anymore.
Yeah, but emos, it's just like evokes this like early mid 2000s thing, and emo's not really it doesn't feel like a thing anymore. It just feels like a dated thing.
We wouldn't call Zeke emo anymore. We may call him an incel. We'll call him an incel.
Exactly. But like that's I don't even want to go there. You know? That just seems worse. So, but at the same time, that's actually I went back and forth. But now, like now I don't know what to do, because I don't actually know what I'm going to do with the comic, because I've taken this really long break. It was a mental health thing that I don't know if you read my post on Patreon, but I fixed it.
No, I heard. Hooray for math! Actually,
for math.
I would say, damn it! Wait, no. Editor, cut out that joke. That's not the joke I want to go with. I'm really glad that you're doing better, Enzo. I really am. I'm glad that you've managed to catch up to speed.
I really.
No.
There we go.
Wow.
That's a keeper right there.
That was amazing. Well fucking played. So yeah, I appreciate that. So now that I've I think I'm actually gonna try my hand at some animation, dude, because that's the one thing that I've always wanted to do. Like I've had some success.
As a devout follower, I know of your attempts. Yes.
But that's the thing. It's one of those things where it requires me to have sustained attention span, which I've always had trouble with. And now that I have this meth, I can actually sit down and work, you know, because all these last couple of years, all these years, I've been having to find ways to work around the fact that I lose interest in what I'm doing within minutes, you know. So like that year where I did a comic, I think I was updating 5 days a week. That was so fun. But you know how I did it? I dedicated one entire day to doing one fucking thing. I was like, today I'm going to write. That's the only thing I'm going to do. That's the only thing I'm going to accomplish. And that's how I did it, because I would spend Monday writing, yes, I would write and then I would wander off because I got distracted by something, and then I'd come back in 5 minutes and I'd keep writing again. And that's how I was able to get so much done. But it never worked in the past because, especially with webcomics, where like you're the writer, you're the editor, you're the marketer, you're the everything. And every time I switch to a new task, I would just fucking collapse, right? So that's why it would take me like 3 fucking days to come out with one comic. And this is like the early comics where they're just black and white lines.
Yeah.
Those took me 3 days to do.
Oh my god, really?
Granted, I didn't have a tablet,
Yeah.
but still, what the fuck? That shouldn't take 3 days. It's at least 3 days.
You'd probably go back to your younger self and beat him up like, "Hey, you motherfucker, you can do better, do more, make more."
Do your drug. No, but seriously, like I've only been like a week or so since I started taking this medication, and I've been writing so much, and I think I mentioned that I fucking cried a bit when I started taking this medicine because I was like, I could have fixed this my entire life. But whatever, if the past is the past,
That's why
I am just gonna, I'm just gonna fucking do what I want to do now, because it's a perfect time to kind of one of the things that kind of stopped me also from trying to do animation was the guilt of like, oh, I need to continue the comic. But now that I've like, oh, well, the fucking comic, I haven't done it in a month, so it's kind of the perfect time for me to transition to something that I've always wanted to do. And who knows, if the animation don't pan out, I can always go back to comic because it's kind of the same thing. I just love to draw, and comic and animation just requires a little bit more work, but that's totally fine.
Yeah, the line between it it's not too far of a gap.
Yeah, exactly.
To leap off of the idea that, you definitely could have been more productive in the past. And by the way, for everyone listening, for the kids at home, we should mention this is an actual meth versus medicinal meth. We're talking about Ritalin. Okay.
Oh yes, methylphenidate is the active ingredient of Ritalin, which is used to treat attention deficit hyperactive disorder, which I have.
Yes.
Don't do drugs. Don't do actual drugs. Do therapeutic
unless
drugs.
They are prescribed by a licensed medical professional, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like not the dude behind the alley in a trench coat.
To feel good. He don't know too much. He doesn't have your best interests at heart. Okay. Be safe. Nonetheless.
Drugs.
But what I wanted to bring up though, in regards to that, is because I think that's also a reason why a part of me doesn't. Why I really do say that Cheer Up Emo Kid should never change its title, and I don't really care for the changes in like the dialogues on certain jokes, just because I think a big part of it and what makes like Cheer Up Emo Kid as a whole, it's a great reading experience because it is very much in a way, it's a period piece. It's very much a product of its time, and you definitely get that with its humor. A lot of its jokes are definitely stuff that would come out of the early 2000s. You'd see jokes like these from, like I said, Cyanide and Happiness or Control Alt Delete and stuff like that. But it's kind of, but especially once you get beyond that, once you move to like the what I'd call the second arc or the second act of Cheer Up Emo Kid, where where it's like Zeke's getting a job, and that's where Dale starts to get introduced. Or oh wait, no, I remember what happened. Zeke gets catfished. Once we get to like that part, that's when it starts to like mature a lot more. The humor starts to become a lot more like I guess mature. And then you go later in, and then we get more of the dad jokes and that sort of thing, and kind of we go back to like the Gagaday stuff, and we also get more Steve and what's their name? What is it? I remember. I can't. And Susan, thank you. Okay, I'm trying hard not to say Green, which always threw me off when Steve
Yeah.
and Susan.
When I started giving them names. Yeah.
No, it's funny because I remembered that's because in my mind I'm like, hey, oh, that's Green. Isn't that Zeke's sister? Is there like a
Yeah. It was actually supposed to be at some point, and then I realized that like I don't know, actually don't want to happen, but yes, you are correct in that she was supposed to be Zeke's sister at one point, but then I changed it. And I don't remember why I changed it. I just know that I
Maybe
did.
because there was some weird questions that would have to be raised.
There definitely was. But like I ended up changing it mainly because the Steve and Sue were actually originally supposed to be. They were based on a couple. My friends in high school that were a couple, and they were like the kind of the couple that grew up together at school, and they were they were kind of like quote unquote the perfect couple.
But they fucked a lot. No, I don't know about that.
I mean, you do in high school, I suppose. Was but yeah. So
no, but as a whole, Cheer Up Emo Kid, like looking at it, and why I think keeping the early bits as intact as possible, even with its overtly edgy humor, and again, where it goes like over the top, it's like, yeah, fair enough. We can tone down some of this, but I think a part of it is very much like if you read Cheer Up Emo Kid from start to finish, I think that if you have the wherewithal, if you got that good IQ and that third eye open, and you're like at the age where you can understand some of the nuances, you'd be like, oh, this is a story about maturity. It's a story about like change and how like you kind of see the progression of the art and artist going in tandem. And it's one of the most magnificent things about webcomics as a medium because like as you know, these fuckers will keep updating for like 10 years depending on the person, and we're definitely not the same people that we once were. Obviously, if you look at Cheer Up Emo Kid now, the humor is going to be way fucking different from the jokes of the past, and so on and so forth. You kind of see the evolution and the development of the characters, and as of the art and the story and the writing and the comedy and all that jazz. It's what makes it that layer of just it gives it a secondary like subconscious moral because in a way, and I think that's what and I'm gonna tell you now, like ending Cheer Up Emo Kid, that'd be fine. I'd be fine with that, if only because like I think it keeping this sealed as a capsule and as a lock, I think it it serves as a way because I think like for me seeing like Zeke start to get kind of weaned out and mellow out and the stuff with the romantic stuff kind of falling to the wayside, that in a way is like the comic itself getting over it, and that's kind of the main, and to me that's kind of what the whole comic's about. It's getting over whatever drama that you got and whatever tragedy has befallen you, and that's really the best. And in a way we gotta kind of end it, I think. And I mean, it's not the end, it's not the worst thing. It's what we all strive for. This is the peace that warriors fought for. You know that meme.
Well, I really like that. I think that's great, and I do appreciate that. You're like putting into words like things that are like I'm thinking about, but I don't actually overtly know how to like how to explain, I guess, or just stuff that you're also making me sound way more like smarter than I actually feel like I am. But because of that, yeah, well, I mean, I want to go with it just because that that explanation sounds way better than what I ever thought of.
But but that's one thing though, is like all the edgy humor of the past, like to me that's perfect because once because it's especially once it starts to get over it, like it's again maturing the comic. It's maturing and going beyond that, or we don't really need that. And it's it says to me a lot about like personal growth, like where there's some and I think part of why the revisions have kind of like leave a bad taste in my mouth is because for me personally, the way I always view it is like we've all been shitheads in the past. We've all said things that we don't mean, or we meant differently at the time, and we never really understood how it affects other people. That's just the life. We'll always have our mistakes, but the point is, and the point of the like Cheer Up Emo Kid as a whole is that moving on from that, being able to grow beyond that and showcase more of it. It's why Frank is very important as a character, because he's able to like, I'm still kind of a shithead, but you know what? I'm still likable in a way. I can still he's still all right. He's not sending fatties to their doom, opening the trapdoor and being like, yeah, can you fit it? That was actually that was still a pretty good fat joke, though. I think I'm fat. Well, let's test it. I have this method. If you fit through the hole, you're fat. You're not. If you can fit through this hole, you're not fat.
Oh my gosh. Like, yep.
Also, I love how I don't know if this is just, again, this may be me like misremembering or getting gaslit, but I swear to God, in that setup comic where it's not red, fucking talking about, oh, I think I'm fat, and she got sent down. It looks normal. But once Zeke's down there, she turns into a whale. It's just a good passive joke. It's so stupid, but so good.
I mean, that's exactly what I was going for. Stupid, but I'm glad that you enjoyed that.
Hey, we can all appreciate a well executed fat joke. All right, I don't care who you are. You should enjoy it as much as you can. If it makes you laugh, it makes you laugh. Don't be ashamed of it.
Oh, I have all this.
Let the writer have the shame. You can laugh.
And all the changes, all the what do you call it? Retro. What are they called?
Retcon.
Retcon. Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
But yeah, it's just it is wonderful. I do wonder. I'm trying to think, like, especially with the later. So, here's an interesting thing. So, here's an interesting little decision that I remember you making of remaking the cocaine arc. How did that? Yes. How was that? And what happened with there?
I had a drug problem at that time.
Oh,
yeah. There's a lot of stuff in the comic, like, I really honestly just, like, steps away from real life. Like, when Zeke got catfished.
Oh, yeah.
I got catfished. Like, I'm fucking literally telling a story of what happened to me because, I mean, the comic pretty much tells the whole story, but what actually happened to me was, I was feeling really shitty from the breakup. I just started playing games, and this person started talking to me, and then said, "Do you want me my girlfriend? Want me my boyfriend?" I'm like, hell yeah. I didn't, it was always in the back of my mind, like, is this actually a girl or they're getting catfished? But that, that kind of voice in the back of your head that always tells you should probably check on this. It was like, nah, let's just go with it.
Let's see where it goes. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, I wasn't told to buy a plane ticket and go get robbed in some remote country. That never happened. It never
Thankfully.
got to that point. Yeah, it was just basically like this dude who I guess they felt really bad for me. So they wanted, I never understood the motivations for it. I just remember that when I found out, and I literally found out the way that I explained in a comic, where like they had been sending me pictures, and I was like, these are Facebook photos. They have the Facebook ID. I should look up the Facebook ID,
Oh,
and it was someone else.
yeah.
So I confronted them. I was like, hey, who is this person? Because these are the photos you sent me, and they fucking like, oh shit, the jig is up. So they broke down. They're just like, yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm this dude from fucking Alberta or something. Like, and you know what I did? You know what I did?
Oh.
I started laughing. I just fucking started laughing just because, like, part of me just like always knew because there was never always this confirmation. It was always just kind of like, and it was always like things that I suspected, but I never wanted to confirm it. It was more like I wanted the lie. I knew it was a lie, but I wanted it to continue.
Yeah.
You know, and we just started fucking laughing so hard because laughing at my own stupidity, laughing at the fact that like I let it go for so long, laughing at like it was just, and they were like, "What the fuck? This is a very strange reaction." But I was like, you know, you're like, like yeah, it's just hella weird, but you know, obviously, just don't fucking do that to other people.
Yeah.
It's fucked up what you did. It's fucked up.
It's not very
But
good. Yeah. Shouldn't play with
yeah,
other
but at the
people's
same time,
emotions.
I feel like I kind of deserve that because you know I didn't do the stuff that I probably would have done. I didn't do any of the checks I probably would have done if I was in the right state of mind. But at the same time, you didn't like do anything malicious to me, like
Yeah.
steal my money or anything. You just didn't.
Yeah, he
Still,
did steal
again,
your WoW
never
money.
found out the motivation. And then my didn't steal my wild gold. That's no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, at the end of the day, like every now and then we're still like we message he still messages me. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, what's up?
that's nice.
I mean still weird, but
It's-
friendly enough.
yeah.
It's not like, you know, I'm very lucky that I didn't like send any dick pics or anything.
Anything
because
compromising.
that would be yeah. You know. But yeah. Again, so I mean I don't want to go into too much in detail about the cocaine thing right
No, that's
now.
that's more than fine.
But
It's fine.
that is a thing that happened in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
what
thanks
you
for
didn't
asking, though.
do
'Cause I
the.
appreciate that.
I did find that arc interesting though. It was definitely.
Yeah. It was weird looking back on it. Like it's kind of comes out of left field.
Yeah.
I think, unless people really know me. So now you really know me.
Ah. I just took it as, oh, sweet, we got another arc.
You got drugs.
We got a little flash game where they drive on the road. It's great.
Yeah. And,
Oh,
I mean, honestly, those arcs. I really, looking back, I honestly felt like I didn't really pull them off well.
Yeah.
Mainly because I felt like I didn't write them well, or I kind of rushed in. I don't know what I did, but I wasn't happy with it after I completed them, and that's kind of why I started moving more towards like kind of back towards just gag a day,
yeah.
which I do enjoy because there isn't this pressure that to kind of wrap things up or
Yeah, with execution and like, oh, you're telling the wrong
exactly.
thing
Like,
with this character. This is what did that or whatever.
yeah, exactly. And like one of the things that people always ask me, I feel like it was probably you at some point, but they're like, so what happens with those three things those three quests, those three tasks
Oh,
that the catfish dude was supposed to do for Zeke, but you know, that's like one of those plot holes that never got resolved. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I was just trying to, like, I never fucking planned it. That's the thing, like, I never planned that shit, and I should have, but I didn't because I'm a dumbass. And that's why I don't like writing plots anymore because I'm not good at it. I like writing jokes, and like trying to write plots around jokes, not fun. Or playing, I do prefer just writing jokes.
no, yeah. I find myself, I can definitely relate to that, especially because I've kind of found myself in a similar situation before. Like when I started like trying to do comics, like I was all like Gagaday stuff. Because again, it is very very much inspired by like Luke's Rooster Teeth comics, where it's like regular Gagaday, but hey, you have like these recurring characters. You have a set list of cast and stuff. I'm like, oh hey. You know who does that? Fucking no one. Or, well, Control Alt Delete and other things, sure, but, you know, it's neat. You have a set set people. It's neat. But then I always did find myself like, wait, well, I don't want to try to do something more. I think as people, we always try to be like, maybe we can try to do more with this. We can push our boundaries a bit more. And I've finally managed to do that. Maybe not in the most healthy way. But I had to use a crutch, I admit, but I still, I've managed to do that. I've managed to make January, which is I'm still very much proud of. I think, and the way that I put it, because I know exactly what you mean. I always had this weird fear of like, because okay, so reviewers, you probably know this. If you don't, you're not paying too much attention, and that's fine. I'm glad. Don't pay attention to me. But the first webcomic or first fan comic I ever made was this comic called January, and it was and I was looking. I'm like, I want to make this story based on this character, and I'm like, I wanted to tackle the issues that the comic did of like depression, suicide, and trying to deal with that and how to tackle these issues. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, I only know I am a fucking idiot. I don't know anything about these subjects. Why would I dare try to? And I'm like, kind of want, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. And it's like the more that you push into it, the more, and getting into it, finally actually putting pen to paper and being like, all right, focus on this, focus on that. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? It's like, okay, it kind of veers into it. And I think if you read January, you definitely get the sense of it's a funny man trying to be serious. Because there's every fucking page, there's like jokes. Okay, I know there's a fucking word. Every single time I try to say this word, I know there's a thing like self aggrandizing, self emulating, like something. All I can think of is masturbatory. Like I'm just I'm just jerking myself off here. I'm tooting my own horn. I know there's a fucking word in there. I've expanded my vocabulary so much so I could remember this, but I never do. I fucking hate it.
I mean, I think that perfectly conveys what you're trying to say. Masturbatory.
It's very masturbatory what I'm doing here. But so there's a joke in here that one of the scenes where I was like, okay, this is where I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. Where I'm like, I'm gonna take this seriously, but I still want to have fun with it. Like I wasn't sure how to balance it out, and doing this scene, it's like it actually it really put it into perspective and made me realize, okay, this is what I want to do. This is really cool. So it is this it's page 37 of January. I'm posting it here. I know it looks terrible. Don't judge me. I'm sorry, but it's hard to read.
Oh, too late already.
It's hard to read because my penmanship is terrible. But I will read it for you. But essentially, the page goes like this. There's two characters, Rachel and Paolo. Paolo's the man in the fucking little hat with the dingly thing. Rachel goes, "Hey, Paolo, why you look so glum, chum?" And Paolo says, "Oh, hey, Rach, it's nothing, just... Rachel, am I a dick?" Normally, I crack a joke, but you seem serious, so no. Why? Do you feel like a dick? Fair warning. So before this page, Paolo learned that his friend who he'd been kind of ribbing and joking and picking on for a long time, his mom died. So he's like, oh no, I'm an asshole. So he's kind of trying to battle with that right now. He's a Frank character, essentially. So he's like, well, kinda. I mean, maybe it's just that Abby's mom died, and I've been thinking about how much I've made fun of him, his stupid drama, and I can't help but feel awful. Rachel responds, well, hey, that right there proves you can't be a dick. Dicks don't feel awful. I'm being serious. I'm being serious here. Hey, me too. I know a lot of people who are dicks, who never gave a shit about anyone else's feelings or ever thought they could ever be wrong. The fact you feel bad for what you did and you recognize what you did was wrong proves that you're not a dick. And if anything, you're the nicest dick I know. And I'm like, that's perfect. That is my favorite joke in the entire comic. It's wonderful. It's beautiful, and I would never change a damn thing about it. I think I subconsciously channeled the fucking what is it? Team America bits of the pussies of dicks, assholes, and pussies. Do you know that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, now I have to
I've seen the movie, but I really don't remember it.
Okay, so I'll see if I can remember, and I'll throw the clip up to compare how much I got right. But it's don't talk to me. I'm a dick. And the guy's like, hey, man. No, being a dick ain't so bad. I mean, friend, there's only 3 types of people in the world. Dicks, pussies, and assholes. Pussy and dicks, they just want to fuck everything. Pussies just want to spread love and feel good all the time and share that with everyone. And to everyone to feel good. Assholes just want to shit all over everything and make everyone shit. Now, pussies hate dicks because, well, dicks fuck pussies. But dicks fuck assholes too. And if we didn't have any dicks in the world, then you'd get your dicks and pussies all covered in shit.
Oh my god, I do remember this now. Wow.
It's the bit that leads into him just vomiting all over in the fucking alleyway to dramatic music. It's great.
Gosh, I need to rewatch this movie because I vaguely remember.
I've never watched that movie, but I've seen that clip and it resonates with me. It's so good. And to put into perspective, Frank's the dick and Zeke's a pussy. That's the moral of the story here. That's the real thing. But oh yeah, what I was trying to say with January. So yeah, like that is very much encapsulates the. I think, especially with Cheer Up Emo, with examples like Cheer Up Emo Kid, you can definitely see. You can see how you can be a gag a day, you can be silly, you can be stupid, but you can still have something to say. You can still have that moral, and you can still, you're still able to balance that. There is a way to do that. I think I did a good job about it, but that's just because it's me. But I definitely think, writing it out definitely helps. But the way that I wrote January, I call it the snowball method, and it's essentially just I have an idea. It started with the idea of like, okay, I wanted this comic, and it's gonna like focus on the. All I want is for this to focus on this character getting help and being this way. Like, okay, and then start the ball rolling. You start fucking boom, like, okay, we're starting off like this. We're gonna do that, and hey, while we're doing this, and okay, we're gonna have the scene start here. And we're having where these 2 characters are talking. Okay, we'll start having them talk about this. Oh, hey, while we're here, we can like maybe talk about this and talk about that. And we can, while we're doing this, we're also thinking about like where it's going. Like, okay, oh, this would be a great setup to get into this and to get into that and get into that. By the end of it, you're just adding more and more onto this snowball until it becomes a giant boulder, and then you just throw it, and then you have a big fucking thing. And then that's kind of what it is. You just build and build and build on top of it. And through doing, um, like I, the comic I'm doing right now, False Idol. I told you what was going to happen with like the cheating stuff, but like all the dialogue and stuff, I always keep like open ended. Like I'm like, all right, they're going to talk about this, they're going to talk about this, but they're going to talk about this. How are they going to string them in together? We'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll find some way. Let's do some maybe a non sequitur here. Oh, hey, they can joke about this, and hey, that can lead into this, that, and the other. It's just kind of keeping it in subconscious, be like, okay, while we're talking about this, we also do need to talk about this. So how do we connect these two? Just kind of work that together. Maybe not the greatest way, maybe not the cleanest, but I will always say that the worst thing that you can ever do is to have a great idea in your head and sit on it and just not and do nothing.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's the important thing. You just gotta keep fucking pushing, even if because honestly, as good as we write, as great as we will be, as much effort as we're gonna do, the first step you're gonna take is always gonna be the shittiest. It's always gonna be in it, no matter what. But that's why you keep moving, and as you keep walking,
Yeah.
just walk through that grass, and it's gonna that eventually that shit's just gonna come right off, and you're gonna find yourself like miles away. You're good, and you'll find yourself in a better spot. You just gotta keep pushing through. Somehow, some way, it'll get better through practice. That's practice. I don't know. I don't know where I was.
Well, that was really well put. No, that was great. I was really well put, man.
Yeah. So I should. So I should ask. What are you thinking? What are you writing right now? Like, what are you thinking of?
I mean, I've always wanted to do some more autobio stuff, but like in video form and animation, cartoon form. So like, it's really not gonna be too far off from Cheer Up Emo Kid comics, but I'll probably start out with just like more personal stuff, and then maybe I'll start doing some like skit stuff with Sprank and Beat and Steve and Sue with the characters because I love those characters. I want to get back to them at some point.
Yeah.
Um, but I do like telling stories, and I was thinking maybe at one point I could tell the story of behind Cheer Up Emo Kid. I mean, like kind of what the real. I was thinking of doing maybe like a deep dive and just like explain, oh, this is what this art came from. This is what these comics meant. Like, this is what this character was based on, and what just kind of like explaining for anyone who would listen.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's I have just so many possibilities right now. I'm just kind of just gonna go with whatever I feel like it at the moment.
Yeah. Have you done a Draw of My Life? I know I've heard of those things.
Draw My Life, is that like a specific
Oh,
thing?
it's I think it's kind of. I haven't seen too many of them now, but it was this like thing where it's like essentially a kind of animated thing where people will like essentially draw their lives. They're like, "Hello, draw the self. Like this is me. This is where I was from. This is what I did," and they essentially just draw their whole life and like that way.
I have not.
Yeah, I think that would fit in perfectly with what you're describing. And I obviously I'm gonna fucking watch that, but
yeah,
can at least count on that. But yeah, I definitely think that other people would too, if only because, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but it is definitely something that I've noticed and I feel really strongly about in terms of webcomics, and I don't think I've seen it too much in like any other medium. Or maybe in some aspects. I think more importantly in like songs, but
Yeah.
not in the same way. Where it's like, I think, well, maybe at least for me, at least, I will always remember. I may not always remember like certain things. I have terrible fucking memory. I may have ADHD too, but the thing is, like, I always there's like a little bit in my mind there, like if there's like someone says like something, I immediately think of like a reference to like this thing or a reference to that thing.
Yeah.
And like if anyone fucking mentions cocaine, I can't help but say, you know, you ever tried cocaine? It's first time you try it, it's fucking awesome. Blows your fucking mind. I can't help but say it. I can't help it. And but and I think everyone kind of has something like that. We'll always remember it. We may not remember. I may forget about. I forgot about the Frank versus Red fight. I forgot about I forgot about the bit where he talks. The whole bit where he talks about purple. But I remember. But little things, even just a joke, we'll stick in our minds and be like, huh, that really did catch me off guard. The bit where Frank gets eaten by a fat woman. Because he's like, tell me you ate the woman I actually slept with. That's just great. But it will always stick in our mind and be of the good times. And we'll always wonder, like, even if we never check webcomics, some people don't always. It's actually an interesting thing with webcomics. Like, it fosters both the addictive repetition of coming in and checking like every 3 days or every week or so to check out what's new, what's going on. But also at the same time, it's very common for us to be like, oh, I've kind of forgotten about this comic. Hey, I remember this, like the little joke. What have they been up to? And check back, like, holy shit, they're still here. Or then you go in.
They're still around. You guys are still alive?
Except for, the sad parts where it's like, oh no, the domain's gone. Shit. Well, that sucks. But it's just always sad. Big sad. But, it happens. And I think Cheer Up Emo Kid is definitely a comic that, whether we recognize it or not, like, I'm sure that for a number of readers, we'll always remember like a little bit of it. We may mix it up with like another thing of like, oh, what do you mean? Oh yeah, I remember Pon and C. That's the one with the guy in the scarf, right? That also had like a airplane hat one time, or the shades. I don't remember. He changed his outfits a few times, but that was weird. Why did you change his outfits?
I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
It's just Frank. But yeah, I think we'll always remember like a little bits and be like, well, yeah, we'll check in and see what's going on. And I will always be eternally grateful to find out that you're still here.
Well, that's so kind of you, and I really appreciate like the support and all of the freaking the fact that you're so interested in my shit. Like that's like the fucking that's all the support I need. Just kind of like super fan. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I mean, to be fair, in this fucking medium, with how much money we make, it's all we got is attention, man. So that's the least I can give you.
And I appreciate that so much.
I don't know what.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you've done too. Before we get too gay in here, I do want to mention. So, how about life outside? Because we haven't really talked about that. Obviously, we've got a kid now. That's fucking big. How has that been?
I mean, it's been great. I'm taking care of I get some because I'm working from home, and I became the de facto like caretaker, which I fucking love. Like it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's so weird because I kind of became that whole like meme of just having like I don't know how to describe it. I just love like my child. She's just so cool, so funny, and I'm that kind of meme of that parent that just like loves their kids so much. And I never thought I'd be like that, but here we are.
I mean, you definitely get that when you read the comics. There's so many fucking bits of Steve and the kid. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I get it now. I suppose it's such a cool life experience, and I was so scared before, but now I'm like, I think kid's gonna be all right.
I'm good. And now here's where I got to ruin this moment by inserting the Hellraiser clip.
And to think, I hesitate.
Yeah, moment ruined. Awesome.
If I had the skills, I would get to. It would be even better because I'd get to Photoshop you as that fucking penis head fucking guy. Because that's the one who says it. It's so terrible. I know. I remember talking with Luke because I did bring you up. I was like, what happened to him? Please tell me he's not dead. Please tell me Enzo's not dead. This is, of course, before the Patreon notice, but he's like,
yeah.
But yeah, he was like, yeah, no, he's focusing on his family. If I remember correctly, the joke was you said it. You put it as like because before you were also and I guess it is late, but we should inform the audience when we say the name Luke, we mean Luke McKay. Don't ask, but because I was asking about the Dungeon Incorporated and that sort of thing, which is I really enjoyed, and also the that webcomic guide of like figuring out how to start and places and things like that, which is pretty cool. I found it helpful, except for bits with the free sites because I've tried and none of them really get it the way I want it. I hate I'm gonna go on a tangent here, but I do hate how webtoons or not webtoons in particular. Webtoons is better about it, but Tapastic in particular, like it does the infinite scroll and all this stuff. It's more favors vertical aligned webcomics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't like how restrictive that is. I don't like how the size is and stuff like that. And like trying to make it more for mobile.
And and I totally agree because like being comics and mobile, like it takes away the kind of like the joy of scanning over a page with several different panel shapes.
No, yeah, you're not able to like get as creative as you could. There's like,
at the same time, that's kind of like one of the realities of like how people consume content nowadays, and it's kind of just a matter of trying to strike a balance between how much creative freedom you want to have over your panels versus kind of like convenience for people to read it. I mean, I was looking at those like comic apps that Marvel makes briefly, and they have all kinds of cool things that let you like zoom in and like kind of go into panels because they kind of have to with panels like comic book or superhero comic, right? But we don't really have that luxury, so it's kind of like what we do next.
Yeah, But on the other hand, it's like it kind of goes back around to what we were saying in the beginning about the webcomic medium kind of being this wild west of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And
Yeah.
like that's very much what, and I think like the original format, there was nothing wrong with comic press, which by the way,
Mhm.
I cannot isn't on WordPress anymore, or at least I can't fucking find it. Like I don't
Oh,
know what happened.
oh,
I think it's
inter-
I don't know.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's
I'm
sad.
curious as to what happened to that.
I don't know.
But
Maybe they made too much fucking money. Maybe that's why we don't see as many like original like URLs or stuff. But it goes into like the things that I was thinking of because there's a number of webcomics or even like well no yeah webcomics that just play on the medium and use it to really great extent. There's one artist or there's this one artist that I have to pay attention to. They don't really post that often, but their stuff is amazing. It's Emily Carroll. They're well known.
oh
You
yeah,
know them?
yes, I've seen some of her work.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's the stuff that they do. It's amazing. I love some of the stuff. Like that's really she really knows how to play with the medium and just fuck with your expectations and do things like the horizontal scroll of like his face all in red, like that ending bit where it's like you're at
Yeah,
the bottom and you're
it's
like, oh,
brilliant.
it's all dark. Then you're like, oh, I can scroll to the right. Ooh, oh, and you're following him down the cave. Oh no, this panel.
Yeah,
Like
that's super creative. I love that.
yeah, that or like even what oh no, one of the greatest fucking things that I've seen and it's something that I'm like, "Oh man, I would love to fucking do that." And I'm surprised no one's fucking done it is the TF2 comics. The way that they do their
Mhm.
stuff. Have you ever read them?
What did they do?
Okay.
No.
So their stuff is in PDF format. And essentially
Mhm.
what they're able to do is have it appear panel by panel. So like at points you can click as you're reading, like you go to the next page and you click on it to reveal the next panel, and it's so fucking brilliant. It's a great way of building like pacing and tension and stuff like that and making
Mhm.
action, and you can even like play around with it because then you can do things like having a panel change in between panels or yeah in the same page, and it's like oh yo that's pretty neat, like a person punches someone in the previous panel but you can't see it
Yeah.
until it happens. Like that's fucking awesome. It's there's so many brilliant ideas and it's like it's why I kind of I and then again that's why I dislike webtoons and tapastic because it's not, it
Yeah,
kind of
you're
limits you.
limited.
It's very limiting.
Yeah.
I think webtoons is a little better for it because it doesn't force you into the infinite scroll, and I hate the infinite scroll. I just want my. That's also why I hate like a lot of the free website makers because they
Yeah.
love the infinite scroll. They love it where you just scroll and then that activates the next page and zips in. It's cruel, isn't it? And I'm like, no, I just want my buttons. Please just give me a button to go to like the next page. I want each page to be its own separate like URL. I want it all like this. I just want it simple and clean. Give me my buttons. Please stop trying to scroll. I don't want the scrolls. But I guess yeah, it's just the way that consumerism is. But we can break it. We can break the conditioning. We're breaking the conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I definitely still advocate for like independent sites. It's just they're fewer and far between now because
Mm.
the free sites make it so easy for people to start that they
Yeah.
and
And also it's
also
just the
because like
marketing of it.
if you make your own yeah, if you make your own website, you kind of have to know a little bit of web design.
Yeah, and you have to
Another
do
whole
all
another
of the
thing that people
ground.
have to learn.
and you have to lay down all the
Yeah.
groundwork of trying to establish yourself and trying to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had a great. I think we had a great. It was really great before when it was very simple. Of like, there was some comics have like a network where they'd be like, it'd be like, I'm trying to. I can't. The only one I remember is Buttersafe and Edmund Finney's Quest for Life. Like those guys and like two other comics were like by like if I understand it correctly, it was just called the Network Friends. And as I can assume, all I can assume is like they bought the domain for something. They buy the domain or server for their websites, and they're like, "Hey, we're all gonna pay this fee together. We're gonna all stick in for each other. It's great. It'll be fine." And that'd be great. And I think that's because like I'm sorry, trying to gather my thoughts, but I brought this point up before in a interview I had with a girl named Rusty, where I think the way that I've always discovered webcomics has been like going to a website, going to the webcomics website, being like, I like this thing, and looking at the ads, just being like, because Project Wonderful was great with this. I don't want to go too into the pun, but it was wonderful. It's great for this. It's great for it. Where webcomic people would buy the ad and be like, "Hey, check out my webcomic. If you like this webcomic, you'll like this
that
one."
was really great. Actually, I loved them. I loved it, and I was really disappointed when they went under.
Oh yeah, it's really sad. Now we just get fucking targeted ads, and it's like, I know I didn't click on it the last 10 times. I'm not going to click on it now. Okay. But like it was a great way of doing that. And there's a number of webcomics that I would never have found if it weren't for that. But not only that, but also like recommended. Like the way I always think is like go to the extras and be like, hey, if you like this comic, maybe you'll like this comic. And I'm like, okay, maybe I will. And then follow the rabbit hole and see where it goes until you find what you like. And it's never led me astray yet. I'll maybe a little, but no, if I it's better than, and I think it goes into what I was saying before about like marketing. There's really not that many. The problem with webcomics is that the barrier for entry is non-existent. Anyone can join, but the problem is when you're in a sea of everyone doing whatever they want. Like, that you can stick out, even if you're great and you're special. Your story's great. Your characters are solid. It's like you still aren't going to be able to necessarily be seen because it's a whole sea of stuff and crap, and it's so much stuff that we can be like, that's kind of like what I've tried to steer away with the show of Let's Read, because we only do good comics or comics that I like, and because there's so much shit out there, so much crap you could look at and be like, this is terrible. It's like, let's find the good stuff. Let's appreciate what we can do here, because these people are fucking starving, man. We ain't got shit. For instance, Bear Nuts. Bear Nuts is one of our favorite webcomics. All the boys that read it, like they love it. They found it great. It's a great show. I don't think anyone's ever fucking heard of it. All right, I think some people have. I think it's moderately popular, but it's like still even if I went up to like a webcomic nerd, I'd have a 50-50 shot they'd know it. They know it. But
I'm sorry, I've never heard of it.
See, exactly. No, but I think it also kind of goes into the fact like it's so rich. There's so many things that just fall into the wayside, and I know it's not technically Webtoons or Tapastic's fault, but the fact that now that they've kind of made that their business model is as promoters and stuff like that. Especially and Hiveworks can get this too, because Hiveworks is probably the best option of the three, but it still follows the problem of now if you want to find, now people will be like, oh, if I want a webcomic, I'll go to this site, this network.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And it's easy to brush off like, what's this other site? And like an independent site. That's kind of fishy.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on over there? I don't like it. This doesn't look this looks weird compared to everything else I've seen. I don't know what to think. It's like I don't know. I may be an old curmudgeon about this. I like it when I miss my comic press, damn it. I just want my fucking buttons. Why can't I have fucking buttons? I'm not on mobile, god damn it. I'm using my computer. I don't know. What do you think of such things? Oh, like that.
Sorry, because I was really curious as to what will happen to comic press. It hasn't been updated in 2 years.
Oh yeah,
and it looks like someone else. It looks like there's someone working on a new version, but it's not. It's been 2 years. Still working on it. So,
how hard is it to put the buttons? Please, just give me my buttons.
Yeah, I used to follow I followed the original creator on Twitter, so what's he done?
Oh, wait, yeah. I would much rather have 1,000 comics, webcomic. I would rather that every webcomic that I read use Comic Press than every comic I read be on Tapastic.
Mm-hmm. Comic Press definitely gives you more freedom, but
you can at least change your backgrounds. You can change the look of your buttons. You can choose the fonts.
Yeah.
You can have fun with it.
Enzo, I'm sorry, but I actually probably need to go to sleep.
No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I have to wake up in 8 hours.
No, that's fine.
But honestly, this has been so much fun. We could just talk forever. I feel like.
No, yeah, trust me. I've had it. That's usually how this stuff goes. Especially with, I think J.W. Balsley was probably like the most infamous one in my mind because it was great fun, but it was like 3 hours long, and I'm like, man, no one's fucking watching this shit. We spent half the fucking thing talking about just America, and not like anything political or of substance, just like places, being like, oh yeah, there's because he's from Wisconsin. And we're like, oh man, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You've seen all the fucking fields. You see how like there's so much fucking land and all the hills and stuff. You have so much shit. I'm like, oh man, this is great, but no one cares. No, I care. I always care. But yeah, before you go though, any final thoughts though in terms of what will? Well, no, you already talked about what will be coming out, but how are you doing right now?
I've been doing great, and I'm just gonna do some videos, animation. That's what I'm looking forward to, honestly. It's the next level. It's the next level for me, I suppose. And I'm excited about that. Make some fucking cartoons.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do what we want. This is the way.
Yeah.
Here's open, and maybe we can revitalize the animation and YouTube spaces. We can do it.
Hopefully.
Do it if we try.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Huh.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great. It was really fun to talk to you, dude. And again, as always, I really appreciate all your support.
Hey, thank you for coming. This is always
means a lot.
Hey, yeah. I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad that you have graced us with your presence. It has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
It was definitely so much fun. All right, I'm gonna hop off.
Say goodbye. Bye, people. Join us next time. Bye. Who knows what we'll bring? Say bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
Come on.
Why turn it off?